Seriously though, are there people who don't brunch? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Liz and I'm going vegan while doing things a little extra each time. Today's recipe is awesome. It's for all you people out there, myself included, who enjoy brunching. And if you don't, why don't you? Who doesn't brunch? So we're gonna make one of my favorite brunch recipes today, and we're going to veganize it, obviously. And that dish is chilaquiles. Now, I know I've gotten some questions before from friends and family in the past being like, what the heck is chilaquiles? And it's a Mexican dish of tortillas that are sometimes either just topped with or simmered in a enchilada sauce. It can be red or green, or a mole sauce. And we're gonna go the enchilada sauce route today, and it's gonna be so good. So I can't wait to get started. All right, to get started on our chilaquiles, we're going to work on the cheese component by making a ricotta. I know that sounds weird. Stay with me. I know it's Italian and Mexican, but because we can't really use a Mexican crema or cotija cheese or even like Oaxaca cheese, we're going to use a ricotta. And this is also going to be kind of our, protein aid to kind of get in there, because otherwise chilaquiles is literally just tortilla chips. It's just carbs and sauce. And, when you go for brunch, they'll kind of serve them with eggs and stuff, but we can't have that as vegans. So this is going to be the substitute. And I promise you, it turns out so velvety and delicious. It's great. So to make our ricotta, we're going to start with tofu. I have extra firm tofu. It really doesn't matter what kind you used. I've used even the high protein tofu. It all just depends, like if you really care about the texture of your ricotta, then, if you get like a looser one, like an extra firm or one that's water packed, it's gonna be a lot more liquidy. So just kind of break that up into your food processor. Going to add 2 cloves of garlic that are really big. I like a lot of garlic. If you don't, by all means, add much less or just omit it. Then we're going to add some parsley. If I can rip that. Fresh Italian flat leaf parsley. Then a pinch of salt. And a pinch of pepper. And finally, what kind of sets us apart from other ricotta recipes is we're going to add vegan parm. Now, I just follow the Hot for Food cookbook recipe for vegan parm, but what I've done to give this a little extra zest is I've added garlic powder to it. Again, I really like garlic. If you don't, just omit it. Just use whatever kind of vegan parm you have. If you have the like store-bought kind, that's fine. And then I'm just gonna brush a little bit of this in here. I really like the flavor, the saltiness that it gives the ricotta, and the texture with the the ground cashews. So once we have that, we're just gonna blend it. Please excuse my ancient food processor. So once it kind of, gets down to a ricotta looking texture, which is basically like this, where as you can see when I'm scooping it, it's not too loose, it holds itself, and it's kind of got, texture to it. So we can go ahead and give this a taste. And I'm actually going to add a little bit more salt because you do want it to be salty. I'm gonna add some more parm and we'll give it another whirl. So good. Okay, so this is our ricotta. I'm gonna get this out and then we can get started on the rest of our chilaquiles. So the next step in our chilaquiles process is to make the tortilla chips. Now you might be thinking that you want to use a store-bought tortilla chip, and that's probably fine if you're really in a pinch, but I don't recommend it because store-bought tortilla chips tend to be on the flimsier, crumblier side. And so once the sauce kind of hits them, they're going to turn into mush. And if you're fine with a mushy chilaquiles, then by all means, go ahead and use it. But the best chilaquiles use leftover tortillas, and so that they're tougher. I don't have leftover tortillas, but I did go and cut some corn tortillas into cute little chip shapes. So we're just now, I have this over medium high, and we're just gonna fry our chips. And then once they're fried, I'm putting them off to the side on top of a paper towel lined plate so that we can absorb the excess oil. And be sure once they come out of the oil and you move them over to your paper towel that you douse them in some salt, like your typical tortilla chip. These are the beautiful chips that you're left with. Now this small batch here was about 3 small corn tortillas cut up, and I used yellow corn so to give them this awesome golden hue. And then I tossed them in some salt, and now they're nice and crispy. Some are still cooling, but yeah, it really just takes a few seconds to fry, to shallow fry them, and it's so much worth it. The payoff is just so much worth it. So with our chips done, with our ricotta done, we can move on to the grand finale, which is obviously the star of the show, the enchilada sauce. To bring our chilaquiles all together, we're gonna start on our enchilada sauce. Today we're making a red enchilada sauce, but feel free to make your own green version, or a mole would be absolutely delicious. So again, I know you would probably want to go ahead and make your own using a store-bought canned version. That's fine if you really want it in a pinch, but making our own is going to be so sumptuous and delicious. Can't wait. So what we've got here is our array of spices, and you really want these set aside before you get to start, because once everything gets heated and starts going and needs to thicken, there's really no turning back. You can't be sitting there and measuring out each spice as you go. So have them all pre-measured, mixed together in a bowl, and then you can get started. What you're gonna need is 3 tablespoons of flour. Any kind of flour will do. I just have white flour. Because this is a very, not bland, but it's a very mild enchilada sauce, I really like spice, so I've gone ahead and added just the smallest pinch of chipotle powder. Then you want a tablespoon or more of chili powder. Start with 1 tablespoon, but just know that, the less you put in, the more mild it's gonna be. Then you want a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of garlic powder. Yes, garlic is coming back. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of dried oregano, and then completely optional, but I think gives it that really awesome warming quality, is a pinch of cinnamon. So to get started on our enchilada sauce, once we have all our spices set aside and ready, you want to heat a few tablespoons of olive oil in a pan. And you want to wait till it's pretty hot so that when you add a dash of flour to it, it immediately sizzles just like that. So that means it's ready. And once that happens, we can go ahead and put all of our dry ingredients into the pan. And then you want to stir. And whisk specifically, because eventually we're going to need to get out these lumps. And just, you know, kind of do this and kind of toast up these spices for a good minute. You know, let them, you know, deepen in color over this high heat. And it's also going to cook out that flour taste so that we won't have that in the finished sauce. Ugh, smells so good. Now, once those have deepened, we can go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And whisk that in. Right after that, then we can add 2 cups and whisk at the same time of doing this, 2 cups of chicken stock. So we've got our 2 cups of chicken stock in, and you basically just want to keep whisking this. This will thicken as we now bring it up to a simmer and then let it simmer for another like 10-15 minutes. If you want to use veggie broth, you can. I just think it gives a more mild taste, so I used the Better Than Bouillon for chicken, the vegetarian version. And so we're just going to kind of bring this up to a simmer now while still whisking. As you can see, like, no lumps are left. Now, once our enchilada sauce is starting to simmer, we can go ahead and turn it, down to medium-low, because we just need to maintain that simmer now for about 10 to 15 more minutes. And you want to keep whisking, not necessarily constantly, but at least every few minutes, if not like every 30 seconds, just to make sure things are coming together. And as you can see already, like, this is already starting to thicken up. So we just need to keep it going. And then we'll have delicious homemade enchilada sauce. All right, guys, look at that sauce. So this is really something that definitely gets better with time. Not that it doesn't taste great right off the bat, but once it really cooks down and concentrates that flavor, it is just awesome. So I understand, I know I'm getting a little bit of a skin there because I'm not whisking right now to show you guys, but a lot of people have trouble kind of realizing when, their stuff is reducing. And I just want to show you, if you can see that, starting line up there, this has reduced significantly and it's gotten thicker, and it's going to be so good on our chilaquiles. So yeah, once it kind of gets to your desired consistency, feel free to just turn it down low, stop it from simmering. And then what we need to do for that last finishing touch, which you might recognize if you've ever had canned enchilada sauce, is vinegar. We can just add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or regular white vinegar to this, and a pinch of black pepper if you're so inclined. And then it's done and ready to go, and you can set that aside. And then we're gonna assemble our chilaquiles. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've moved back, I wiped out most of the excess oil that was in this pan from when we fried our tortilla chips. And then I took a half a cup of our enchilada sauce and put it in here and heated it up again, which obviously didn't take very long. And then I'm just gonna layer in my chips. This is definitely best done in a skillet, but if you're so inclined and you would prefer to just kind of drizzle the enchilada sauce over, you can definitely just plate your chips and then put the enchilada sauce over them. Now, once we've got our chips in, they really don't have to cook per se. It all just depends how soupy you want your chilaquiles to be. So I usually give it about a minute. Because we fried our own tortilla chips, they're really gonna hold up and hold their integrity. So I'm gonna say that's about good enough. And then, with that, I like to go in, and you're probably like, where's that cheese coming in? It's coming in now. I'm going to do some dollops of our ricotta throughout the pan. Again, this could be done later, but I like to, like if you were going to plate these, but I prefer to, I'll just keep them in the pan. And I like the ricotta to kind of get warmed and delicious and melty. And just kind of, I mean, it'll smear around once you go to eat them, obviously, but just to kind of get them in that sauce with the chips. Enchilada sauce. And that's the basics of our cooked enchiladas. Now comes the toppings. Right, our chilaquiles are done. I'm so excited. Mine have kind of started to cool because I was prepping all the toppings on the side. But now we can finally finish these babies and eat them. So excited. Now, chilaquiles traditionally get topped with slivered thin onions. So that's what I've gone ahead and done. And I used a Vidalia onion because that has a sweeter note to it. It's less of an oniony bite. I just think that'll pair well with my spicier version of the enchilada sauce that I made since I put in chipotle. So we've got our white onions. I've also got fire roasted green chilies. And really chilaquiles, you know, even though they traditionally have the onions, they can be served with anything. People serve them with eggs, people serve them with avocado. I just wanted that kind of green and red Christmas look. Those on there. And then traditionally you would also kind of top it with a Mexican crema. I do not have a high power speed blender in order to make the typical vegan cashew or almond based cremas. So what I did is I made my own that is vegan cream cheese and vegan mayo. It's 1 part vegan cream cheese to 2 parts vegan mayo. And then you just kind of, you still leave it thick, but you thin it out a little bit with water. And it's so good and tangy. It's kind of like a mock sour cream, you know? But oh, look at that, guys. Look at it. Cannot wait to eat. Feel free to also top with some green onions, whatever you like, but this is ready to go, and you can eat it right out of the skillet, or you can portion it onto plates. And yeah, that ricotta is gonna melt in there. It's just gonna be so good. All right, guys, that's it. That is how you make vegan chilaquiles. I want to get into this so bad. I feel like this entire video was just me wanting to eat chilaquiles. So here we go. It's just that it's been so long since I've had a vegan version. Let's get in here. Oh, look at this. Is gonna be a good bite. Big bite, but a good bite. Oh man, that is so good. So good. I'm going to dug into this entire pan. Yeah, it's just, you get that vinegary heat from the enchilada sauce. Then the ricotta is there. Is just there to make it all tie together and blend seamlessly. And then you're hit with a little crunch of the onion, of the fire roasted peppers. And then on top is that just nice soft drizzle of the crema. And wow, it just, so good. Certainly not traditional, but good nonetheless. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button while you're at it, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when new videos go up. If you have any ideas for recipes that you'd like me to try, or just products that you'd like me to taste, please leave that in the comments as well. I'd love to know what you guys think. All right, or I'll see you guys next time. Bye.